My dear sisters, a woman walks alone, not because she is weak, not because she has been forgotten, and not because she has lost her way. She walks alone because Allah is enough for her. People may look at her and assume loneliness, but what they do not see is the strength of tawakkul beating quietly in her heart. There are moments in life when Allah removes people from our path. Sometimes friends drift away. Sometimes family misunderstands us. Sometimes the one we trusted most is no longer there. And it hurts. It hurts deeply. But understand this, my dear sister, Allah never removes something unless He replaces it with something greater, often with Himself. When a woman learns to trust Allah, she discovers a kind of courage that no one can take away. She wakes up not knowing how the day will unfold, yet her heart is calm. Why? Because she knows who controls the outcome. She may not have a shoulder to lean on, but she has hands raised in dua, and those hands are never empty. The world teaches her to be afraid. It tells her she is too vulnerable, too alone, too exposed. But Allah teaches her something else. Allah teaches her that protection does not come from numbers, wealth, or status. It comes from reliance on Him. When Allah is your protector, no harm reaches you except what carries a lesson, and no pain touches you except what brings you closer to Him. People will talk. They always do. They will question her choices, judge her patience, and misunderstand her silence. But Allah knows. Allah sees the tears that fall in the darkness of the night. Allah hears the dua whispered when the world is asleep. And Allah reassures her heart in ways words cannot explain. A woman who walks with Allah learns patience. Not the kind that breaks her, but the kind that builds her. She learns dignity, not arrogance, but self-respect rooted in faith. She learns that being alone with Allah is far better than being surrounded by people who distance her from Him. Every step she takes may feel heavy, but every step is recorded. Every sacrifice is seen. Every moment of endurance raises her rank. What she thinks is delay is actually preparation. What she thinks is loss is actually protection. Allah is shaping her into someone stronger, softer, wiser, and closer to Him. So let her walk. Let her walk with her head held high and her heart connected to the sky. Let her trust the one who never disappoints. Because when a woman walks alone, trusting in Allah, she is never truly alone. She is walking with the Lord of the worlds, and that is the greatest companionship of all. A woman walks alone, and people are quick to assume that something is missing from her life. They look at her silence and think it is emptiness. They see her independence and think it is loneliness. But walking alone does not mean being abandoned. Sometimes it simply means Allah is teaching her to rely on Him before relying on anyone else. There are seasons in life when Allah deliberately reduces the noise around us. Familiar voices fade. Familiar support disappears, and suddenly the path feels quiet, almost too quiet. In that silence, a woman may wonder why she has been left to walk by herself. But Allah is not absent in those moments. In fact, He is closer than ever, but they do not see what Allah is building within her. They do not see the strength forming in her patience, the clarity growing in her decisions, or the peace settling into her soul. Allah often prepares His strongest servants in solitude. Walking alone also teaches her that her worth is not measured by who walks beside her. Society teaches women that value comes from being chosen, accompanied, or admired. But Allah teaches her that her value was already written long before anyone noticed her. She was honored the moment Allah created her, and no absence of people can remove that honor. When she walks alone with trust in Allah, fear slowly loosens its grip. She realizes that she does not need to control everything, understand everything, or explain herself to everyone. Allah sees her intentions, even when the world misunderstands her actions. Allah knows her struggle, even when her face shows strength, and that knowledge is enough to steady her steps. Most importantly, she learns that Allah never abandons His servants. People may leave without explanation, promises may be broken, support may disappear overnight, but Allah remains always. Every step she takes alone is actually taken under His care. Every tear she sheds is noticed. Every silent prayer is answered, sometimes immediately, sometimes later, sometimes in a way she did not expect. So if a woman finds herself walking alone, let her not rush to fill the emptiness. Let her not panic or feel ashamed. Let her walk with dignity, patience, and trust. Because when Allah allows a servant to walk alone, it is often because He is guiding her personally, and there is no abandonment in that. Only purpose, mercy, and a path through a certain trial, but she trusts the one who allowed it. This trust gives her the courage to endure without losing herself. A woman who builds her strength on faith learns when to speak and when to remain silent. Silence for her is not fear, it is wisdom. She knows that not every battle deserves her energy, and not every explanation deserves her time. Allah knows her intentions, and that is enough. Her dignity remains intact even when she is misunderstood. Through patience, she becomes emotionally strong. Through dignity, she becomes spiritually elevated. Through faith, she becomes unshakable. The world may test her limits, but her heart remains connected to something higher than circumstance. She learns that strength is not about never breaking, it is about returning to Allah every time she feels broken. Over time, this strength transforms her. She no longer seeks revenge, she seeks peace. She no longer craves applause, she craves acceptance from Allah. She no longer measures success by ease, she measures it by sincerity. Her strength is refined, purposeful, and deeply rooted in her relationship with Allah. So when a woman walks with patience in her steps, dignity in her conduct, and faith in her heart, she carries a strength that cannot be taken from her. It is a strength built by Allah, sustained by trust, and rewarded in ways far greater than this world can offer. One of the heaviest burdens a woman can carry is not her struggle itself, but the weight of how society responds to it. People observe from a distance, draw conclusions from fragments, and speak with confidence about lives they do not truly understand. A woman may be doing her best to walk the straight path, yet she finds herself surrounded by judgment, labels, and assumptions. Society is quick to speak but slow to listen. The world judges by appearances. It measures success, morality, and worth through visible outcomes and public narratives. If a woman does not fit neatly into expected roles or timelines, she is questioned. If she chooses patience over reaction, she is misunderstood. If she walks away from what harms her soul, she is criticized. Society sees her decisions, but it does not see her intentions, her prayers, or the tears that guided those choices. Allah's knowledge, however, is complete and perfect. He knows what led her to every decision she made. He knows what she endured in silence, what she sacrificed to protect her faith, and what she gave up to remain sincere. While people judge from the outside, Allah judges from the heart, and His judgment is the only one that truly matters. There will be moments when a woman feels pressure to explain herself, to defend her character, or to correct every false assumption. But faith teaches her restraint. She learns that clarity does not always come from speaking. Sometimes it comes from trusting Allah to reveal the truth in His own time. Not every accusation deserves a response, and not every misunderstanding needs correction. Society's judgment can be loud and relentless. It can make her question herself, doubt her worth, and replay her choices. But Allah's knowledge brings calm. When she reminds herself that Allah sees her sincerity, the noise begins to fade. She realizes that pleasing everyone is impossible, but pleasing Allah is achievable. This realization frees her heart. Allah also knows the private battles that society never acknowledges. He knows the strength it took for her to wake up each day when her heart felt heavy. He knows the patience she showed when reacting would have been easier. He knows the faith she held on to when certainty felt distant. None of this is lost. None of this is ignored. A woman who trusts Allah's knowledge understands that reputation in the eyes of people is temporary, but standing with Allah is eternal. People may remember her incorrectly, but Allah records her accurately. People may speak based on assumption, but Allah judges based on truth. This understanding gives her resilience in the face of criticism. Over time, she learns to detach her self-worth from public opinion. She becomes more focused on inner alignment than outward approval. Her compass shifts from what will people say to what will please Allah. And in that shift, her heart finds peace. So when society judges her harshly, she reminds herself that Allah knows. When words hurt her, she remembers that Allah sees. When she feels unseen and misunderstood, she holds on to the certainty that the one who matters most is fully aware. And that knowledge becomes her comfort, her protection, and her strength as she continues to walk her path with dignity and trust. Trials and challenges are an inevitable part of life, yet they are often misunderstood. Many see difficulty as a punishment, a sign of weakness, or a failure in faith. But the reality in Islam is far different. Trials are not a curse, they are a sign of elevation. They are a means through which Allah tests, strengthens, and elevates His servants, preparing them for something greater than they can imagine. What? When a woman faces hardship, whether in her personal life, career, or relationships, it can feel overwhelming. The mind questions, the heart aches, and the world seems heavy. Yet these moments are not without purpose. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, does not burden a soul with trials beyond its capacity. Every difficulty is measured, intentional, and tailored for her growth. What she perceives as suffering may in fact be a divine opportunity to develop patience, resilience, and closeness to Allah. Trials refine character. When a woman experiences pain, she learns patience in a way that comfort never teaches. She learns to control anger, to restrain reactions, and to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. She learns empathy, understanding, and compassion because she has walked through hardship herself. The trial, though painful, becomes a tool of inner transformation. It shapes her into someone more grounded, more aware, and more spiritually attuned. Endurance through trials also strengthens faith. When everything seems uncertain and support seems absent, she is reminded to turn her gaze toward Allah. She learns that reliance on creation has limits, but reliance on the Creator has no bounds. The more she leans on Allah, the more she discovers His mercy, His wisdom, and His protection. Each hardship becomes a bridge, bringing her closer to the one who is her ultimate source of support. Trials are also a test of sincerity. The heart is purified when it remains steadfast despite difficulty. The actions she performs, the patience she exhibits, and the prayers she offers during hardship are not for public praise. They are for Allah alone. And Allah, who sees what is hidden, are the power of walking with Allah, even when the path seems difficult. The help of Allah is often unseen, quiet, and subtle, yet it is closer and stronger than anything the human eye can perceive. A woman who walks alone may feel vulnerable, exposed, and uncertain, but she must remember that the unseen support of Allah is surrounding her at every step. What she perceives as solitude is often a shield, carefully placed by her Creator to guide, protect, and elevate her in ways beyond her comprehension. The unseen help of Allah begins with His awareness. Even when the world seems indifferent, when no one notices her efforts or understands her struggle, Allah sees. He observes every tear that falls in silence, every whispered dua in the quiet of the night, and every act of patience that goes unrecognized. This knowledge is a source of comfort, a reminder that her life is never truly unseen and that her efforts are not wasted. What may feel insignificant to others carries immense value in the eyes of Allah. Allah's unseen help also comes in the form of guidance. When a woman faces uncertainty, He directs her steps, opens doors, and closes paths in ways that protect her from harm. Sometimes this guidance is obvious, but often it is subtle. A feeling of reassurance, a pause at the right moment, or an intuition that prevents a mistake. She may not see the strings being pulled, the circumstances being arranged, or the people being placed in her life or removed from it, but Allah's wisdom orchestrates it all. Protection is another aspect of this divine unseen help. The world can be unpredictable and harsh, but Allah shields His believing servants in ways that human perception cannot measure. He guards hearts, preserves dignity, and shields from harm, both seen and unseen. Even when danger seems imminent or the situation appears hopeless, a woman who trusts in Allah can find peace in knowing that His protection is perfect and His timing is precise. Encouragement comes as well, though often subtle. In moments of despair, a feeling of courage may rise within her heart. In moments of weakness, a sense of resolve may settle in her mind. These are signs of Allah's unseen support. They remind her that she is not walking alone, that she is never abandoned, and that her reliance on Him is recognized and answered, even when she cannot see the outcome immediately. Trials too are a form of unseen help. Though they may seem harsh or burdensome at the time, they are opportunities arranged by Allah to elevate her, purify her heart, and increase her closeness to Him. A woman may feel overwhelmed by her challenges, yet these very trials may be the instruments of her spiritual growth, guiding her towards strength, resilience, and a deeper awareness of her Creator. Finally, the unseen help of Allah instills hope. It reminds her that she is part of a greater plan, one that is beyond the comprehension of the mind and beyond the judgment of society. No matter how alone she feels, the one who controls the universe is walking beside her in ways she cannot perceive. This unseen companionship strengthens her heart, steadies her steps, and allows her to face life with courage and serenity.